just want to say, I don't know, I had some ideas, stuff I was going to get on here and complain about, but I plan on doing a rant about working in retail and all kinds of crap like that at a later date. Let's just talk for a minute about unemployment and searching for work and stuff like that. Hear a dog drinking water. Alright. Sometimes during the day I go through things in my head and I think of things I want to say. And right then and there would be a good time to have a camera, because later on I just forget. But I'm going to give you some advice. Don't work in retail, and don't do it. And don't work maintenance in retail, okay? Retailers, they just chew you up and they spit you out. They recycle people like aluminum cans. They don't care about you. They don't care what happens to your family afterwards. I've been on unemployment since October of 2012. No, 2011. Since then I've worked a few places. I've had a few interviews, not many. I've had 3 or 4 interviews that I couldn't take because they're out of town and my vehicle hasn't been running properly. At one place that actually wanted to hire me, they gave me 24 hours. They said they didn't call me back and they didn't. But either way, I couldn't take that job because of my wife's work schedule. Unrelated story, she got her hours cut. I'm not going to get into reasons on that right now. We'll do it at a later time. And because also my son goes to school in the morning, they wanted me to work from like 7 to 6 to 2, or one of those, you know what I mean. I couldn't do it. I worked at a retailer, a new store that was put in, briefly stocking shelves, put the store together, unload the truck, and they cut most of us loose afterwards. That was just a few days. And since August I've been working as a high school janitor, only part-time. My unemployment expired this week. People will not hire me. People discriminate against me because I have this beard. If you look at me on here, it looks a little off. It's thicker on one side than it is on the other. I'm not going to shave it. I don't want to. I need to trim right here. I got the long hair. Don't have much on top these days. I have some. That's irrelevant. Okay? People won't hire me. A lot of these people haven't seen me, so they don't know what I look like. But they look at my resume and they see I work here, here, and here. One of the people told my wife, "Oh, I've worked too many places. There's too many stops or something." Okay, 2 of the places I worked at twice. A lot of the jobs I worked sometimes 2 or 3 jobs simultaneously. But they don't look at that. They don't, oh, you worked too many places, you're going to quit. Oh, 3 of the places I've worked for, 4 of the places I worked for. No, 3 of them. 4 of them. I worked 3 years at those places. So I don't just stop and go things. I never voluntarily quit any place I've worked, except for this one retailer. I put my notice in 2 times. I left twice. First time was because of low pay. Second time was because still low pay. Second time around I had a different manager and he was a bit of a bully. And he had a personal butt kisser and his wife worked there, so it wasn't a good situation. It was like a daytime soap opera. But that's not the main problem. The next place I worked for was Walmart. Not the one in this town. This one was put up. Was it 2011 they opened, I believe? I don't remember. Yeah, it was 2011 in the fall. I tried to transfer there and I got suspended that very day. long story short, they fired me. I'll do a Walmart rant later. I've done 2 on my other channel. I want to do a better one, more coherent one. Anyway, that's the reason I can't find work so much. You work for an employer, they treat you like crap, and they give you bad reference. If you're fired from an employer, you know, people you apply to, and they call that employer and you get bad references, and they say, oh, we're not going to hire this person, they all just sit on their butt. I didn't last there 3 years by not doing my job. I'll get into a rant about that later. It involves a support manager and a squawking menopausal androgynous crone who don't care about me or my son, or the fact that I have bills to pay that are overdue and sent to collections and all that crap. But they're giving me a bad reference. People won't hire me because they think I'm unreliable. I work too many places, blah, blah, blah. If you have an employer that screws you over, and you're applying for work elsewhere, and these other jobs call that employer, I mean, there have been times where I applied for an application, that's one not to contact. But if you email someone a resume, they're going to call everybody on your previous employers. I'm getting screwed over. I can't find work. 18 hours a week for $8 an hour is not going to pay my bills. I need to add a second part-time job, or I need to work full-time somewhere else. If you're on unemployment, my advice to you, start your own business or something. I tried. I ran a taxi cab for a year. It wasn't that successful, so I dropped it. But you gotta start your own business. If you have money, or you can get a loan, go to school, go to college. I don't have time or money. But yeah, don't work in retail. If you do, make sure you're actively looking for work elsewhere at the time. I had planned to put my notice in after my vacation, or, you know, before my vacation, so I could take my vacation and leave, but they fired me instead, and they don't care about me. They don't care about anybody they fire. The one person that did it with extreme prejudice and rage. She'd done that previous with other employees as well. This kid I used to work with, he got yelled at and stuff. And I'm going to give you advice to don't ever stand up for yourself at work. I found that each time I have, it has backfired on me or made things worse. If you get into a bad situation, look for work elsewhere. Put in your applications elsewhere. Maybe somebody will hire you. Get yourself out of where you're working now. Because you could end up on unemployment. Certain types of people have trouble finding work elsewhere. If I was, say, a Mexican woman, I can get a housekeeping job like that, not to be stereotypical. I can get a fast food job like that. If you're in one of them who-you-know towns, where you don't know anybody, you don't have a familiar last name, forget it, you're not going to find work very easily. That's some trouble that I've had. But hopefully, working at the high school will open some doors to other opportunities. Maybe I can get in there full time. Somewhere in the school district as a janitor, or I should put in for a substitute bus driver. That might work out. But do not work in retail unless you absolutely 100% have to. I imagine fast food is the same. I've never worked in fast food. Do not work maintenance in retail. They will just use you. They will spit you out. Every retailer I've worked for has pretty much screwed me over in some way. I've had places where I was training in and they get rid of me. That doesn't look good on your resume. Put that on your resume. I had a gas station I worked for. I never even had to fill out a W-4 or anything. And he ended up screwing me out of pay. I worked there for 5 hours to get rid of me because my wife was having a baby, so I needed 3 days off. I worked for another one for like 3 or 4 days. Told me sales were down, we can't keep you on, blah blah blah. They hired someone to work for me, that worked with me rather, at another store that I was still working at. And then soon after that, they built a new store. They moved to a bigger building. And that lady quit. So I got screwed there. I got screwed at another gas station. I was working overnight, and she called me up on the phone after a while. Didn't give me a legitimate reason, saying it was detrimental to my mental and physical health for me to work there. I think one of her friends that worked there, we had a little disagreement. She said something snarky to me that night when she had to come in. So I think that cost me that job. At that time I was still working at that second retailer I talked about that I worked at twice. That's the only place I worked at that I didn't that I left voluntarily. It was a low-paying job. Unless you can get in management, 9 out of 10 that turn out to be douchebags, but unless you can get in a retail job as a manager, some sort of management, don't take a retail job. I'm going to tell you that right now, don't do it. It's a revolving door. They just use people. They only care about this. Money. Sales. Okay? They don't care about people. They don't care about their employees. I don't hear, oh, I could have done it, my insurance, blah, blah, blah. No. There's a few of those people that are brainwashed thinking that this retail outlets they work for are the best thing since sliced bread, and they're not. I'm not going to let this video carry on forever. I had a rant about Walmart that I couldn't post because it was 15 minutes and 41 seconds. I cut it off. I thought it was too long. You know, I was going to keep talking, but they don't like you to have more than 15-minute videos if you have like an upstart channel. This channel I've had since May of last year. I posted one video. I didn't do anything until January on here afterwards. But anyway, that's all I got to say. Have to say. Don't work in retail. Don't work for an employer that's going to use you. Don't work for an employer that doesn't care about you. Find something you're good at. Stick with it, maybe. It might take years, it might take weeks, it might be easy, it might be hard. Sometime during your life you're going to find something good and you're going to maybe make a career out of it. People like me who bounced around from job to job, we're probably never going to do anything with our lives. We're going to struggle. We're going to be poor. We're going to be unemployed. We're going to be not be able to pay our bills and be sent to collections, blah, blah, blah. Not have places to live. I'm considering getting back into the taxi cab business sometime in the future with a better vehicle. But don't work in retail. Don't work in fast food. Unless you're a high school kid, fine, go ahead and do it. You know, if that's a transitional job, you can do that in between going to your next one that you're going to move on to, or while you're working your way through college. But if you're an older person, say in your 30s, 40s, 50s, don't work in retail. If somebody in your 50s, maybe you have years of experience in retail, fine, go ahead and do it. But if you enjoy stress, you enjoy getting treated like garbage, retail is the job for you. If you don't, stay out of it. That's all. Have a good day, folks. Live life to the fullest. Each day like it's your last. Blah, 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 blah. Ta-ta.